And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing, will continue. Guess what? Joe Biden isn't perfect. No candidate is, by the way. But we have to understand what the alternative is here. If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy, unleash troops on protesters, and essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it. And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it. But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things. Look, there's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way. And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail parties... I'm going to take it out just for 1 second. I don't know how to describe this as anything other than like borderline psychotic. It's borderline psychotic level delusions here. I will give Jen Psaki. No, I should say that. I initially was actually pronouncing her name Psaki, and then I was told it's a silent P. So I'll pronounce it properly because I'm not making fun of a name for the sake of it. Jen Psaki, I'll give her credit where credit's due. When you go on the internet and you can look in someone's eyes and sense a degree of confidence or lack of confidence, energy or fatigue. And I always say this, the eyes are the window to the soul, people. Hold on, look at them. I got bags. I got a little grimace wrinkle right there, but the eyes are the window to the soul. And you can see when someone knows that they're lying. You can see when someone is lacking the requisite degree of energy to spout the lies that they lie. I'll give Jen Psaki credit. She hides it well and she exudes energy with her eyes. Can you believe the load of verbal diarrhea that just came out of her mouth? It's so delusional. Accuse your enemies of doing what you are doing so as to create confusion. Confession through projection, all of it. These are all iterations of the same tactic. They are accusing their adversaries of doing exactly what they're doing in real time. They're accusing their adversaries of being who they are. And this actually seems to work on a large swath of the population. Let's go pick this apart one by one on the inside with Jen Psaki, which is just just terrible name. She's bought herself success for the rest of her life. This is the reward you get for being a Jen Psaki press secretary. This is what Karine Jean-Pierre has to look forward to after the years of humiliating herself, discrediting herself, building herself out as the biggest liar the White House has ever seen. She'll get her own show on whatever the hell MSNBC, NBC, CNN, whatever hell rubbish network is still left at the time. But listen to this. And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing. Will continue.
You know why? Because he's a demented old buffoon, and anybody with half a brain knows that. The only reason why people are not going to discuss his replacement is because he's still alive, he's got a beating heart, and he can walk even if it's shuffling his feet like a senile old man that has no idea where he is. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because it's true. His last gaffe at the Remembrance Day event, I think. And it's not to make fun of. It's to assess reality. Now, so long as he's got a beating heart and he's able to walk and occasionally piece together a sentence and then burst into frothing rage, they'll keep him there because he's a useful idiot in the White House, a compromised, useful idiot in the White House.
Guess what?
Guess what?
Joe Biden isn't perfect.
No shit Psaki. That's what they should call the show. No shit Psaki.
No candidate is, by the way.
Oh, thanks. News, breaking news. Nobody's perfect. You should have said nobody's perfect. It would have been even better.
But we have to understand what the alternative is here.
What's the alternative? Because the alternative suggests it's an alternative to that which does not already exist.
If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy.
Anybody watching this, and I'll say this judgmentally, anyone watching Jen Psaki's show, unironically, is an idiot. He will, if he's elected, let me just hear the exact wording again.
Would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy.
He would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy. The same way Biden's DOJ went after Steve Bannon, every single one of the January 6ers, Owen Schroyer, Donald Trump, Eastman, I can't remember all of the other lawyers, Jenna Ellis, Giuliani, Sidney Powell. I can't remember all the other names. 18 lawyers and allies of or members of Trump's campaign. They went after Carter Page with bullshit, fabricated, falsified evidence. But no. You got to worry about Trump, because if he gets elected, he might do what we are doing right now to prevent him from getting elected. Psaki, you're psycho. It's got to be Psycho Psaki. Psycho Psaki. We can make we can make a trend. I'll make a type of alcohol. It'll be called sake after Jen Psaki, and I'll call it Psycho Psaki. You drink the Psycho Psaki, it makes you go psycho. He might do, if he gets elected, what is currently being done to him to prevent him from getting elected, but this time he might have learned his lesson to rid his administration of deep state rot. He might actually learn that he's got to fire everyone clean house to get people in his administration who are actually going to work with him and not secretly work against him while he's in office. Secretly work against him? The FBI falsifying evidence to fabricate the Russia collusion hoax. The General Milley lying about how many troops are left in Syria. General Milley lying about trying to start a war with Iran. Now he's learned. Got to clean house and put your own members in there. Trusted people. You can't rely on the deep state. He might have learned his lesson the first time. If he gets elected, he might do exactly what Joe Biden's White House is doing right now.
Unleash troops on protesters.
Unleash troops on protesters. You mean like the weaponized DOJ or whatever, I don't even know who, FBI that is unleashed on the January 6th protesters? Is that what you mean? You certainly don't mean the Summer of Love BLM protests, because nobody sicked police on them. I'm sure community members would have liked it. No, he's going to sick. What does she say here? I got to make sure I get the wordings right.
Unleash troops on protesters.
Unleash troops on protesters. Kind of like exactly what you've been doing Biden's presidency since January 7, 2021. What else does she say here?
And essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it.
Essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it, as they persecute Trump in New York State to disgorge him of $250 million for a victimless alleged fraud that banks profited from, as they try to frame him on bullcrap sexual battery convictions in front of a New York jury, as they try to frame him again in New York. By the way, this is the holy trifecta. In New York, Alvin Bragg, hush money payments, as they try to remove him from the ballot in Colorado, as they try to lock him up in DC, as they try to lock him up in Florida, as they try to lock him and 18 other members of his administration or who helped him in Georgia. Oh, yeah. No, it's Trump who's the threat to democracy.
And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it.
From your mouth to God's ears, Jen.
But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things.
He's just a bumbling old man. He's not weaponizing everything. He's not a compromised old man who's indebted to China, Ukraine, other corrupt Eastern European countries. He's not a man who accidentally paid a pimp for his son's hookers. He didn't do that. Oh, wait a minute. He did do that. And he's the one prosecuting everybody. But he's just a crazy old cotter who falls over steps every now and again. Oh, don't blame me. It's my first day.
There's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way.
Oh, we should all hear it that way. That's the dog whistle. Whether he says peaceful, we should hear it as violence. But when Joe Biden gets up there with his crimson, what was it called? The Crimson Tide speech? Extreme MAGA Republican extremists, the greatest threat to democracy. Oh, no. His speech it's all beautiful. When he says that, when he froths at the mouth like a veritable modern day dictator, it's with peace and love that he does it. And when Trump says, protest peacefully and patriotically, we're on the side of law and order, that's a dog whistle to the extreme right. Psychotic. Psycho Psaki. Hashtag psycho. Oh, man, and they're both silent P's. It's Psycho Psaki, people. Clip, snip, make it trend. Is that how this works in the world? Psycho Psaki, 2 silent P's. Oh, I've done it.